We met in a quiet corner of a bustling world. It was a place of learning, filled with rows of books and the soft rustle of turning pages. I was looking for a particular book, a simple one with tales of faraway lands. He was sitting at a table nearby, a slight smile on his face as he read. Our eyes met for a brief moment, a fleeting connection, and then we both looked away, a little shy. A few days later, in a class we shared, the teacher asked us to pair up for a small task. Most people already had friends they turned to. I stood there, feeling a bit lost, and then I saw him. He was looking around too. He caught my eye again, and this time his smile was more open. He gestured towards the empty seat beside him. I walked over, my heart doing a little flip. "Is this seat taken?" I asked, though I knew it wasn't. "It is now," he said, his voice gentle. That was how it began. Simple words, a shared table, a small task. We talked about the assignment, then about the books we liked, the music that made us tap our feet, and the dreams we held quietly in our hearts. I learned that he loved to draw, filling notebooks with sketches of the world as he saw it. I shared my love for stories, for getting lost in the lives of people who existed only in words. Our conversations became a regular thing. We would find each other after class, or meet in that same quiet library. Sometimes we didn't even talk much. We would just sit together, reading or working, comfortable in the shared silence. It felt easy, being with him. There were no pretenses, no need to be anyone but myself. He seemed to feel the same way. He never tried to impress me, and I never felt the need to be anything other than plain me. The days turned into weeks, and the weeks into months. Our friendship grew, steady and strong, like a young tree putting down roots. We learned to read each other's moods. I knew when he was feeling troubled by the way he would stare into the distance, his brow slightly furrowed. He knew when I was happy by the extra spring in my step or the way I hummed a little tune. We started doing more things together. We explored little cafes tucked away in side streets, sharing warm drinks and even warmer laughter. We went for long walks in the park, watching the seasons change the colors of the leaves. He would point out interesting things, the way the light fell on an old building, the intricate pattern of a spider's web, the joyful flight of a bird. He helped me see the beauty in small, everyday details I had often overlooked. I, in turn, would tell him stories inspired by the people we saw or the places we visited, making him chuckle with my imaginative tales. There was a time when I was going through a difficult period. Things at home were stressful, and I felt a heavy weight on my shoulders. I tried to hide it, to put on a brave face, but he saw through it. One afternoon, as we sat by the river, he gently asked, "Is everything all right? You seem a bit quiet today." His concern was so genuine, so tender, that the walls I had built around my feelings began to crumble. I found myself telling him everything, the words tumbling out, mixed with a few tears I couldn't hold back. He didn't interrupt. He just listened, his presence a comforting anchor. When I finished, he didn't offer easy solutions or empty platitudes. He simply said, "I'm here for you, whatever you need." And I knew he meant it. In that moment, our friendship deepened into something even more precious. He became my safe harbor, the person I could turn to without fear of judgment, and I tried to be the same for him. He was usually so calm and composed, but there were times when I could sense his own unspoken worries. He was an artist, and with that came the anxieties of creation, the fear of not being good enough, the frustration when his hand couldn't quite capture the vision in his mind. I would encourage him, admire his sketches even when he was critical of them, and remind him of the unique way he saw the world. "Your art makes people feel things," I'd tell him. "That's a gift." Our friends, the few we had separately and the ones we made together, would sometimes tease us. "You two are always together," they'd say with knowing smiles. We would just laugh it off. We were best friends. That's what we told them, and that's what we told ourselves. It was true. After all, he was the best friend I had ever had. But then, slowly, almost imperceptibly, something began to shift within me. It wasn't a sudden revelation, more like the gentle unfolding of a flower. I started noticing little things about him in a different way. The way his eyes crinkled at the corners when he laughed. The thoughtful expression on his face when he was concentrating. The warmth of his hand when it accidentally brushed against mine. My heart would beat a little faster when he was near. I found myself thinking about him when we were apart, replaying our conversations, cherishing the memory of his smile. A strange new feeling, a mixture of happiness and a sweet, aching tenderness, began to bloom in my chest whenever I thought of him. It was a feeling that went beyond friendship, yet was so deeply rooted in it. I was scared of this new feeling, scared of what it might mean. Our friendship was so perfect, so invaluable. What if this new emotion, this love, complicated things? What if it ruined what we had? I didn't want to lose him, not ever. So I tried to push the feelings down, to ignore the fluttering in my stomach, to convince myself that he was just my dearest friend. But the heart has a mind of its own. The more I tried to suppress my feelings, the stronger they seemed to grow. It became harder to meet his gaze without feeling a blush creep up my neck. It became harder to have our usual easy conversations without a part of me wondering, what if? One evening, we were at a small local fair. The air was filled with the scent of popcorn and the cheerful sounds of music and laughter. We went on a Ferris wheel. As our little carriage climbed higher and higher, the city lights spread out below us like a carpet of glittering jewels. It was beautiful. He was looking out at the view, a soft smile on his lips. I found myself looking at him instead. The colored light from the fair danced across his face, highlighting the kindness in his eyes. In that moment, bathed in the magical glow, my heart felt so full it might boast. The love I felt for him was undeniable, a clear, bright flame. When our carriage reached the very top, it paused for a moment. The world seemed to fall silent. He turned to me, his smile gentle. "It's beautiful, isn't it?" he said, his voice barely a whisper. "Yes," I replied, my voice equally soft, but I wasn't just talking about the view. Our eyes met and held for a long, breathless moment. Something unspoken passed between us. A question, a hope, a shared understanding. It was as if the world had faded away, and it was just the two of us suspended between the stars and the earth. The wheel started moving again, and the moment was broken, but not forgotten. For the rest of the evening, there was a new awareness between us, a subtle electricity in the air. We were both a little quieter, a little more thoughtful. The days that followed were filled with a quiet tension for me. I replayed that moment on the Ferris wheel over and over in my mind. Did he feel it too? Or was I just imagining things, hoping for something that wasn't there? The fear of rejection, of making things awkward, was immense. Then came the day of his art exhibition. It was a small, local event, but it meant the world to him. He had poured his heart and soul into his pieces. I was there, of course, my heart swelling with pride as I saw his drawings and paintings displayed for everyone to see. People were admiring his work, praising his talent. He deserved all of it. After most of the crowd had thinned, I found him standing alone in a corner, looking at his favorite piece, a sketch of the quiet library corner where we had first truly met. It was rendered with such detail, such affection. I walked over to him. "They're wonderful," I said softly. "All of them. You're incredibly talented." He turned to me, a vulnerable look in his eyes. "Thank you," he said. "It means a lot, coming from you." He paused, then added, "Especially this one." He gestured to the sketch of the library. "This place, it's important to me." "Me too," I whispered, my gaze fixed on the drawing that depicted the start of our journey. He looked at me then, really looked at me, with an intensity that made my breath catch. "You know," he began, his voice a little hesitant, "our friendship, it's the most important thing in my life." My heart hated his words. Was he trying to gently tell me that friendship was all it could ever be? I nodded, trying to keep my expression neutral, though my spirit felt like it was sinking. "Mine too," I managed to say. "You're my best friend." He took a step closer. "But lately," he continued, his eyes searching mine, "I've been feeling something more. Something that makes my heart beat faster when you're near. Something that makes me want to be more than just your friend." My eyes widened. I could feel the tears welling up, tears of shock, of relief, of overwhelming joy. "I've been so scared to say anything," he confessed, his voice barely audible. "Scared of ruining what we have. Our friendship is so precious to me." "Oh," I breathed out, a tear escaping and tracing a path down my cheek. I feel the same way. The words were out before I could stop them, carried on a wave of emotion. I've been so scared to. A slow smile spread across his face, a smile so radiant it could have lit up the entire room. He reached out and gently wiped away my tear with his thumb. His touch was electric, sending shivers down my spine. "You do?" he asked, his voice filled with wonder. I nodded, unable to speak past a lump in my throat, but my eyes, I hoped, conveyed everything I was feeling. He took my hands in his. They were warm, strong, and they felt so right. "I think," he said, his gaze locked with mine, "I think I'm falling in love with you." "I think," I replied, my voice trembling slightly, "I'm already there. I love you." The words hung in the air between us, beautiful and true. He leaned in, slowly, giving me time to pull away if I wanted to. I didn't. I leaned in too. And then he kissed me. It wasn't like the kisses in movies, dramatic or passionate. It was soft, tender, and full of all the unspoken emotions that had been building between us for so long. It was a kiss that tasted of shared laughter, quiet understanding, and a love that had grown from the strongest roots of friendship. It felt like coming home. When we finally drew apart, we just looked at each other, our hearts overflowing. There were no more doubts, no more fears, just a profound sense of peace and exhilarating joy. "So," he said, a playful light in his eyes, "what does this make us now?" I smiled, my heart feeling lighter than it had in ages. "Still best friends," I said, "but maybe a little bit more." He grinned. "I like the sound of that. A little bit more." Our journey hadn't ended. It had simply taken a new, beautiful turn. The foundation of our deep, unwavering friendship remained, solid and true. But now, intertwined with it was a vibrant, thrilling vine of love, promising new adventures, new depths of connection, and a shared future. We walked out of the gallery that night hand in hand, not just as two friends, but as two souls who had found their other half in the most unexpected and wonderful way, through the simple, enduring gift of our friendship. It was the best kind of love story, because it was ours, built on trust, laughter, and a bond that had quietly, patiently waited for its time to blossom into something even more beautiful. And we knew, with a certainty that settled deep in our bones, that this was just the beginning.